All right, so if you're a Honda owner, especially if you've got an Accord or a CR-V, there's a particular sound you might know a little too well. It's that awful, grinding noise on a cold morning that just makes your stomach drop. Well, today, we're going to break down exactly what that is, why it's happening, and, most importantly, what you can do about it. Okay, let's get into it.
And that description? It's everything. We are not talking about a little squeal or a faint click. Nope. This is a very distinct, very harsh, metal-on-metal grinding sound that, let's be honest, sounds seriously, seriously wrong. So if you're sitting there nodding your head right now thinking, yep, that's my car, then you are in exactly the right place. We're going to get to the bottom of this.
So let's get really specific. How can you be 100% sure that the noise you're hearing is this infamous VTC Actuator rattle and not something else? Well, the thing is, the symptoms are super consistent.
Now check this out. The conditions for this noise are so specific. It only, and I mean only, happens on a real cold start, like after your car has been sitting overnight. The sound itself is loud, for sure, but then it's gone just as fast as it started. And here's the kicker. Especially when it's first happening, there's usually no check engine light. Your car is basically telling you everything's fine, even with this horrible sound.
And this right here, this is probably the single biggest clue of them all. The entire awful event is over in a flash. We're talking 1, maybe 2 seconds of that grinding noise and poof, it's gone. That super short duration is the absolute dead giveaway. It's the signature of this one specific problem.
And, this isn't just some random problem that can happen to any car. It's really targeted at one of Honda's most legendary engines, the 2.4-liter K-Series. This engine is a workhorse, known for being super reliable and having good power, which is exactly why Honda put it in millions of cars, especially those Accords and CR-Vs from around 2008 up to 2016.
All right, so we've totally nailed down the sound. But what is actually making that awful noise deep inside your engine? Let's pull back the curtain and see what's really going on.
So the part causing all this trouble is called the VTC Actuator, which stands for Variable Timing Control. The easiest way to think about it is as a smart gear. Its job is to fine-tune your engine's timing to give you that perfect mix of power when you need it and good fuel economy when you're just cruising. And to do all that magic, it relies on your engine's oil pressure.
Honestly, this is the absolute best way to picture what's going wrong. Just imagine a regular door latch. One that's supposed to click shut and hold the door securely. Now imagine that latch is just worn out. So when you go to close the door, it doesn't lock. It just kind of flops around loosely. That is exactly what's happening inside this VTC gear.
So here's the play-by-play of what happens in that split second. When you shut your engine off, the oil pressure drops to 0. At that point, a tiny little locking pin is supposed to slide into place and hold that gear steady. But in these failing actuators, the pin doesn't engage. So on startup, for that 1 or 2 seconds before oil pressure builds up, that unlocked gear, that unlatched door, just starts slamming back and forth like crazy. That is the rattle you hear. Then a second later, oil rushes in, everything gets tight and stable, and the noise completely disappears.
Okay, so that covers the what and the why. Now let's get to the most important part. What can you actually do about it? Well, you've got a couple of really solid options, and the best one for you really just depends on your budget and how comfortable you are with turning a wrench. You're basically looking at 2 main paths here. Option A is kind of the go big approach. You replace the entire VTC actuator. That's the official fix you'd get at a dealership. Option B is more like precision surgery. You get a little repair kit and just replace a tiny spring inside your original part.
So yeah, if you go with the full replacement, you're doing it by the book. It's the proven, official Honda-stamped repair. The downside, it's definitely going to cost you more, and a lot of that is just labor. Plus, there's always that tiny chance the brand new part could eventually fail in the same way years down the road.
Now the repair kit, this thing is pretty genius, and it's way cheaper. It directly targets the one little weak spring that's causing the whole problem. But, and this is a big but, it means you have to carefully take the actuator itself apart, which, can get a little dicey if you're not super experienced with that kind of engine work.
Okay, so whether you decide to fix it tomorrow or just live with it for a little while, there are definitely some things you can do to manage the problem and keep your engine happy. Let's cover a few pro tips. Seriously, this whole system is all about oil pressure, so good, clean oil is your absolute best friend here. Sticking to a strict oil change schedule and using the right kind of oil is just crucial. The right oil flows faster when it's cold, which helps build that stabilizing pressure more quickly and makes the rattle less violent. And when we say the correct oil, for most of these K-Series engines, we're talking about 0W20. You want that stuff because it's designed to be super thin when it's cold, which is exactly what you need to get that oil flowing fast on a chilly morning start.
And now, my favorite part. What if you want to make that rattle stop tomorrow morning before you even have a chance to get it fixed? Well, guess what? There is an amazing little trick built right into your car that lets you do exactly that. It's called flood clear mode.
Okay, get this. It's super simple. Before you start the car, push the gas pedal all the way to the floor and just hold it there. Now, turn the key to crank the engine. You'll hear it turn over, but it won't actually start. That's on purpose. It's a built-in safety feature. What you're really doing is spinning the engine's internals to build up oil pressure without it actually firing up. Do that for a few seconds, then let go of the gas pedal and start the car like you normally would. Because that oil pressure is already there, the VTC gear is held tight, and silence. No more rattle. It's incredible.
But listen, I have to give you a word of warning. That flood clear trick is awesome, but it's a band-aid, not a cure. If you just ignore this rattle for months and years, the source material is pretty clear. You could be looking at a much, much bigger problem. All that violent slamming of the gear can eventually stretch out your engine's timing chain, and that is a far more serious and expensive repair. You might even see a check engine light with a code like P0341, which is a big red flag.
So that really leaves us with the final question to think about. Is that awful morning sound just a quirky, annoying little noise your Honda makes? Or is it actually an early warning sign, a message from your engine telling you that a critical part, your timing chain, is getting stressed out day after day? Definitely something worth considering.